Viewers, you know the two individuals in the middle of your screens. You know them very well because their pictures, their identities have been flashed over the years very, very prominently. And they shot into the limelight in not too dissimilar fashion. Umar Khalid, accused of leading a protest in JNU against the Supreme Court judgment confirming the death sentence of Parliament attacker and Jaish terrorist Afzal Guru. The other, calling for a Chakka Jam road blockade to sever Assam and the Northeast from the rest of India during the 2020 anti-CAA protests. Somewhere, viewers, their paths crossed and they became co-conspirators. Their allegedly anti-India posturing shocked the country. Till then, the angry young man was always associated with anti-establishment ire. They were anti-establishment, real life imitations of real life Amitabh Bachchan. Nothing more sinister than that. The angry young man was never associated with subversion, and that too, subversion directed towards the breakup of the nation. But the police clearly thought that Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam, and at least 3 others who were their alleged accomplices were committed to this seditious cause and booked them under the UAPA. Since then, both have been held in jail without trial for 5 years, denied bail by the High Court. Now the Supreme Court is seeking to know from law enforcement why these should be released on bail. And the police have filed a 177-page affidavit, viewers, bringing forward new charges that seem to suggest that this group of 2 plus 3 others fomented the 2020 riots, which spread like a rash across North India and, of course, viewers, exploded to devastating effect on the streets of New Delhi. That they did these to try, viewers, and attempt regime change. This claim has shocked the nation. And that, viewers, in this affidavit, and let me just read you or take you through the charges. The first one is that there's a deep-rooted conspiracy that was engineered along specifically communal lines, designed to weaponize public dissent against the Citizenship Amendment Act. And when they meant public, viewers, it was to weaponize Muslim dissent, to work them up. And this was not a spontaneous outbreak of anger on the part of a large number of Muslims. This was an attempt at organized regime change operation. Not my words, viewers. These are claimed by the police in that affidavit, that they were designed to strike at the sovereignty and integrity of India. That they were organized and calibrated violence, followed a nationwide pattern, replicated similar outbreaks in Uttar Pradesh, Assam, West Bengal, Kerala, Karnataka. You remember those times, viewers. We were all sequestered because of COVID. But the streets were on fire. People were risking their lives because they'd been whipped into a frenzy to believe that the CAA was going to disenfranchise Muslims. Viewers, it was never aimed at Indian citizens. But these people made it so, viewers. And therefore they hoped that they could destabilize government through this orchestrated campaign of calumny and violence. The specific charges against the 2 filed by the police shed some light on their alleged modus operandi. Umar Khalid ideated Chakka Jams for riots in Delhi. Seelampur local women were induced to stockpile knives, acids to engineer riots. Give all this arsenal to able-bodied Muslim young youth men. Arranged illegal Bangladeshi women from Jahangirpuri. Sharjeel Imam conspired and engineered the first phase of Delhi riots from the 13th to the 20th of December 2019. Induced imams of local masjids to read content of pamphlets which they had written in speeches to the faithful to incite Muslims into mob violence. They set strategy for Chakka Jam in the capital, insightful speeches at Jamia Millia. Admitted in December's speech that riots were only a spark. Targeted Delhi, the capital of India, said if flyover collapses, whole world will know of it. Exhorted Jamia and JNU students to execute disruptive Chakka Jams. The charges are long against Sharjeel Imam, viewers. January 2020 speech shows that he threatened the unity, integrity and sovereignty of India. Tasked by top conspirators to raise new protest sites, the High Court has already gone into the merits on bail and ruled against any relief. The High Court said case involves complex issues, trial progressing at a natural pace, earnest efforts by the agencies to unearth alleged deep-rooted conspiracy. Hurried trial would be detrimental to rights of both sides. Seeking bail on grounds of delay and deliberate delay can't be accepted. Speedy trial is a concomitant, but systemic delay can't be ignored. The Delhi police have accused the petitioners, including Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam, Miran Haider, Gulfisha Hatima, of systematically delaying trial proceedings through what it calls, quote, frivolous applications, unquote, and, quote, coordinated non-cooperation, unquote. According to the affidavit, the accused is engaged in, quote, brazen abuse of process, unquote, to prevent the lower court from framing charges and commencing a trial. The whole idea is to stall that process and then say that, look, we are stewing in prison and the police are not being able to bring this to trial. So they've created a number of impediments, in fact even taken adjournments. And when the Chief Justice of India, Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud, was asked why he was denying bail, because bail was the norm, jail the exception, he says, it's not really me. If you really go through the case log, you will see it's them. The police will argue that the delay in proceedings was attributable to the accused themselves, just like the CGI did back in time. The affidavit described the accused's claim that the trial would not conclude soon because of 900 witnesses. And we've prepared, viewers, a summation of what the affidavit says, and let's fire that. 900 witnesses, they said, would need to be called up. Who said, viewers? The accused. Which the police say a red herring, manufactured to obtain bail, delay the cause, and then say that, look, what can we do? Clarifying that only about 100 material witnesses would be examined and that the trial could proceed swiftly if the accused cooperated. So all of this, viewers, is very well documented now by the police. It has been confirmed by the former Chief Justice of India. All these claims and charges prompt the basic question. Given the weight of the new claims, should the Supreme Court be in any hurry to grant bail to Khalid, Sharjeel and the other accused? That's the fundamental bottom line question, viewers. And let's throw this open. Let's ask some questions. We have Ravi Srivastava there with us. We have Ishkaran Bhandari, a lawyer. Now, Ishkaran Bhandari, look, let me ask you a very specific and simple question. It's been 5 years. These individuals are being held without trial. Jail is the exception. Bail is the norm. Are these people being singled out because of maybe, I don't know, they claim their identity, or maybe because there is some viciousness inherent?
Rahul, laws against terror are inherently going to be tough laws, no matter what nation you are in. When you have laws against terror activities and there is evidence, and we have to see the region also, we have seen what happened, how many regime changes have happened or attempts have happened from Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, etc. You would need to have tough terror laws. Under tough terror law, why only terror laws? Even under Narcotics Act, there is a presumption against getting bail unless the court is satisfied that prima facie case does not exist. So that is going to be a legal hurdle for any accused to face. Now, I'm not going into the merits of this case, but we know how widespread the conspiracy was. We saw people, I'm a free speech absolutist, but the only example I gave where somebody says, this is how you plan to separate chicken's neck from Bharat by getting 5 lakh people, that's an actionable plan which you are setting out. That is not free speech. That is a guideline of how to manufacture a bomb or how to separate or segregate parts of India. So that cannot be purely a WhatsApp chat or a free speech for a person like Sharjeel Imam. for people who are involved in what chat they did, how they told people, did they tell people to organize and have stones on the roof case and throw stones? Stone can be a deadly weapon also. So all that depends on what will come out in the trial. The law is against somebody getting bail very early. The factor in their favor, frankly, is 5 years. 5 years is a significant length of time, which of course they will try to argue. But the Delhi High Court, which is the last order we have before us, says how the adjournments were sought by the accused themselves. So if you delay the trial yourself, you cannot get the benefit of delay. Supposing they were wanting the trial to proceed, but the prosecution was delaying, then I would say they would have a fit case. But you withdraw the case from Supreme Court, you do forum hunting, you take adjournments in the court, you file unnecessary applications, then can you benefit by delay? That is something which the Supreme Court will need to decide in this case.
But very quickly, Mr. Bhandari, why would they be doing this? Why would they be delaying their own trial in the sense? Wouldn't they want exoneration? They claim there is no evidence, there is no proof. Wouldn't you want your name cleared as quick as possible?
Rahul, it's an unfortunate reality. Very often people delay trial because they feel, for one, if they feel they have a very tough case to deal with, they believe after they delay it for sufficient length, it might become a ground for bail. That is why they appeal everything. So it's better to be out on bail than to be convicted, right? So that's one reason. The other reason, very often, which we unfortunately have to admit, people try to wait to get a particular bench before they argue. That's a reality in the litigation area, and you can't deny those realities. So why accused delays it? Very often it is because you know you have a tough case with length of incarceration. It becomes a ground for bail, and you may come out earlier by delaying trial rather than facing a full trial, which might result in conviction.
Okay. Let me bring in Ravi Srivastava ji. Ravi Srivastava ji, you've heard a lawyer's perspective on this. And he says that in this particular case, exception can be made because the charges are grave. And that the section of the law under which these people have been booked is not conditioned for providing early bail. So let us not try to impugn motives against the judiciary or the system, suggesting that it has been at some level or the other cannibalized by the executive, that they're all dancing to the tune of the executive, etc., etc. And India has become an autocracy and so forth. That's what he's saying. How do you respond to this?
Good evening, Rahul. I would call this whole case is a real travesty of justice. We have to see it separately. Case is going on, the trial is going on in the lower court, which has taken already more than 5 years. It is on. This is only a bail application filed before the Honorable Supreme Court. And on 27, the Honorable Supreme Court said that we want to put it in order right now. Why you have not submitted the counter affidavit yet? They told to the Delhi police. The Delhi police, represented by the AG there, Mr. Raju, said that we want 2 weeks more for submitting the counter affidavit. The court forced them. You have to submit it within a day or two. And they were forced to submit it today, that 177 pages. Now, I don't go by those lofty words, the conspiracy, the regime change, the intellectual architect. These are all nonsense and have got no meaning till they are supported by incontrovertible evidences. The lower court, in the beginning of the trial, the IO, when they submitted a report, the court had observed there were fictitious charges were made, fabricated evidences were brought in. The police made themselves the FIRs. Such were the observations. This is such a flimsy case which will not stand even a week in the court.
Why do you then, fair enough, why do you then believe that the Delhi High Court came and said the case involves complex issues, trial progressing at a natural pace, and that hurried trial would be detrimental to the rights of both, and earnest efforts by agencies to unearth alleged deep-rooted conspiracy? So they are suggesting that there is a lot of smoke here, and that's because there is fire.
They have also made one more observation. The prima facie, the charges are grave. They have written it.
Yes.
Again, I am saying that these are all lofty words only.
Why would a court, sir, no, hang on, just a minute. Why would a court want to go to the extent of using hyperbole to prejudice the minds of the public, let alone anyone else? Why would they do that, sir? What is their incentive?
The matter is now in the Supreme
No,
Court.
I'm asking
that's
you.
why
You've said
the
these are
petitioner
lofty
felt
words. Why would the court be using lofty words? Just a simple question to you.
They do it. They
No,
do
why?
it. This has not happened here. I just bring you a
No,
parallel.
hang on. Let me ask you a question. When Narendra Modi or when Nupur Sharma, when things were said about Narendra Modi and Nupur Sharma, you believed them. You didn't say these are lofty words that are said in the heat of the moment by judges who are prone to playing to the gallery. None of that was said. But in this matter, you are very, no, hang on. In this matter, you're being very cavalier.
Was right on the video.
Huh, what?
Nupur Sharma, what she said was right on the
Sir,
video.
that is not for you to interpret. Excuse
I'm not
me.
interpreting
This was
that.
also the speech that was given by, no, one second, the speech that was given by Sharjeel Imam was on video. Everyone could hear it. It wasn't exactly a closed door secret.
I say let it be proved that
No, I'm just saying, sir, please don't be selective in applying. No, don't be selective in applying your arguments. I'm saying be at least consistent.
Against the war, against the state.
You will choose to believe. Okay, fair enough. You will choose to believe obita dicta, viewers. They will choose to believe obita dicta when it suits them. At that time, they won't say this is hyperbole. Anyhow, let me just bring in Shehzad Poonawalla. There's also Abhijit Iyer Mitra.
Liquor case, 8 months, there is no date even. It was such a case, every third day the trial was happening.
Now viewers, the suggestion is that the courts themselves are part of a conspiracy to fix these people. Okay, well, let me get in Shehzad Poonawalla to respond on the more fundamental aspects of this case, which is Ravi Srivastava claiming bias, claiming that the courts are prejudiced. How do you respond to that?
No, the same Ravi Srivastava, when the courts give a verdict on electoral bonds, when the court gives a verdict on Chandigarh, that time they are hailing the courts. But when
what's
the
the comparison?
Says, now, Mr. Rahul, I have waited 12 minutes.
Raviji, let him finish.
No, what is
you can, Raviji, let him finish, please. Okay, Raviji, please, I'll have to lower your fader. Don't do this tonight.
That's all.
I'm counting till 3.
If something was good,
you can come back and respond to him. I'm counting till 3. Otherwise, I'm lowering your fader. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Shehzad Poonawalla.
When the courts don't even come to a conclusion that Narendra Modi was involved in the Gujarat riots, Mr. Modi is still involved in the Gujarat riots. But when the courts come up with a categorical finding, their central role has been played in the conspiracy of the Delhi riots by Umar Khalid, that he is a mastermind, that Tahir Hussain was a mastermind, that Sharjeel Imam made the incendiary speeches like cutting off the chicken's neck and cutting off Northeast from India, and that was the reason for which 5 years they have been denied bail. Then they are raising the questions on the court. This is the double standards of Ravi Srivastava and his entire ecosystem. Point number 2, I want to just ask that today these disclosures have proven one thing, that these riots were not organic, they were organized. They were not spontaneous, they were sponsored. And they were not for any principle of CAA, because nobody has lost their citizenship in CAA. No Muslim has lost, but it was actually for the rule, it was for the power that this was being orchestrated across the country. And therefore, you can say that the toolkit that we have seen in Sri Lanka or in Bangladesh, actually it was being tried in India first. But now my real question is only this, that who are the ones who are defending these characters and hailing them as Nelson Mandela? Digvijay Singh hailed Umar Khalid. Mr. Sanjay Singh said that Tahir Hussain innocent is being blamed because he's a Muslim, and Sharjeel Imam was defended by the Congress ecosystem. I just have 2 simple questions of Ravi Srivastava. One, that Tahir Hussain was in the Aam Aadmi Party and Aam Aadmi Party defended him. Why? Because they wanted to engineer regime change through Tahir Hussain. Point number 2, that please tell me that Sharjeel Imam said Northeast must be chopped off from India. Do you stand with this statement or are you against the statement?
I'll ask him that. Just 1 second. I'll ask him that. But, Shehzad Poonawalla, I just want to make one point. I think you mentioned the word proved, that these charges prove. Now, there is no proof right now, viewers. Yes, there are allegations that have been made. They will be tested against the weight of evidence once the trial begins. So, right now, these are allegations. At least we should be clear of the legal facts.
I didn't say for this context. I didn't say in this context.
Okay.
I think maybe there's a communication. I didn't say in this context.
Okay.
I am saying that Narendra Modi, even though he has got a clean sheet from the highest court, is proven to be guilty.
Is proven to be.
And here the observations or findings are there, then they are not proven to be guilty.
Okay.
Great.
I get it. So, Ravi Srivastava, now you need to respond, sir. The political establishment has already given them a clean sheet. On what basis? Bias? Motivated bias?
I'll start with Tahir Hussain first, the councillor. I distinctly recall that during that trial, during that riot, Mr. Kapil Mishra was putting his hand on the DCP's shoulders and making the statements. And there was this Goli Maro and all those kind of provocative statements were made by none other than the member parliaments there. And now I come to Tahir Hussain. Tahir Hussain's roof, I saw the reputed channels reporter touching that bottle. इसमें petrol bomb रखा हुआ था. If the petrol bomb रखा हुआ था, what is doing here? This was kind of the botched up
Sir, please.
investigation.
Don't be an
by the
armchair.
police.
Don't be an
I am
armchair
not an
analyst.
armchair. It was all on
Sitting in
camera,
Bombay,
Mr. Rahul Chief
you
Secretary.
you
If
have
you
somehow
watched it.
transported yourself
It
to
was
the
all on
rooftop
the
of
camera.
Tahir Hussein's building.
All
Come
on
on,
camera, I'm
we
saying.
have seen those are the pictures.
camera.
Okay, one second. So where did all these
Somebody
petrol
picking up a
bombs come
stone
from?
from
Anyhow,
the
very
roof,
quickly,
picking up a
Shehzad Poonawalla,
bottle.
quick response. That look.
No, Rahul, I'll just use one line because Abhijit has to speak. Actually, Mr. Ravi Srivastava consumed the version of LKFC, Lutyens fact checker. Don't think anything else. Lutyens fact checker had said that Mr. Tahir Hussain was actually trying to engineer peace, even though there were petrol bombs on his terrace. So I think Mr. Ravi Srivastava has just consumed too much of LKFC's tweets.
LKFC? LKFC?
Lutyens fact checker, sir. Lutyens.
Okay, is it a handle or something? I'm not very certain about this. What is
now
this?
you see there are many of these bears and bulls.
No,
who are
BJP
out of
has
the
to
zoo.
do some kind of a comedy. It's a comedy,
It's not a comedy.
sir.
He's talking about some individual that you are taking at face value. Yes, Mr. Iyer Mitra, look, at the fundamental, this case is dragged on for 5 years. No resolution, no fundamental trial is beginning. We don't know. Innuendo rages, says the ecosystem, say people like Mr. And you just heard him. And that's why we have him, Mr. Srivastava, aligned very closely to the AAP and so on and so forth. You know what I'm talking about. So are we looking bad in the process?
So two things. To answer your first question, LKFC is a certain jihadi individual based in Bangalore who claims to be a fact checker but is in fact a jihadi who's responsible and has the blood of 13 people on his hands, including one WhatsApp live murder that happened on TV where a man was had his throat slit thanks to this LKFC the throat was slit live on WhatsApp. Because of riots that man triggered. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
I think, I come down, I'm a free speech absolutist. See, we need to separate the case for bail from guilt. Bail is based on three things. The gravity of the crime, the possibility of interference in an investigation, and third, the possibility of escaping justice. Now, on one, Umar Khalid is definitely highly suspicious. The gravity of the crimes is very, very serious. But on 2 and 3, it is, I don't know what the answer to those are. That is a decision the court has to take. I would err on the side of bail because I don't believe people should be kept in jail till they are found guilty. I also want to point out, Rahul, prosecutions in this country are very notorious. Just yesterday, the Allahabad High Court acquitted people for attack on CRPF, citing prosecutorial conduct, a lack of evidence. Even in this case, just a few months back, on the 16th of May, the Delhi High Court acquitted 11 men who had been accused of arson and things like that in this case. The Delhi police's ability to screw up even a fantastic case is legendary. I won't take them too seriously mostly, but given the high profile of this case, maybe it will. Let us also separate Umar Khalid from Sharjeel Imam. Sharjeel Imam, even by Mr. Ravi Srivastava's own she was on video saying that. Well, he was caught on video saying that. And that, unfortunately, whether Mr. Ravi Srivastava likes it or not, also contradicts the American gold standard for incitement, which is specific threat against a specific target. Specific threat was what? Chakka jam against a specific target, which was the chicken's neck, which is the Siliguri corridor. Right? So we need to separate these two cases. I would personally say that yes, Umar Khalid deserves bail, not Sharjeel Imam, because it is on video. It is quite this thing.
Okay.
Other people can disagree.
Okay, so let me on that point. Yes, I think Shehzad Poonawalla wants to make a quick intervention. I want to bring in the lawyer's perspective right after.
I don't have any bone to pick with Abhijit because he has same standards for every case. But having said that, you just asked this Mr. Srivastava, when Sadhvi Pragya was being tortured and there was not a shred of evidence against her, she was convicted terrorist as per Rahul Gandhi. And today she has been acquitted. She's still a terrorist for these people. And Umar Khalid is being denied bail by the courts. Then he is the ambassador of peace. वो क्या बोलते हैं? Peace का he is the वो एक शांति दूत है. तो Ravi Srivastava, please tell me that is Sadhvi Pragya terrorist and Umar Khalid is Shanti Doot.
Would you like to respond? Would you like to respond? Ravi Srivastava, would you like to respond to what is being said?
Rahul, first of all, I personally dislike my name being taken. They can say a co-panelist. I dislike it. The second thing is...
Your parents have named you.
Pragya
Why are you ashamed
was a terror accused and given a ticket for parliament from the BJP. I don't need lectures from such party.
Okay. Look, one second. Let me just bring in Ishkaran Bhandari on this point. Ishkaran Bhandari, look, the question will be before the Supreme Court in the next few days. What do you think the Supreme Court should do? Abhijit Iyer Mitra is trying to make a distinction, saying that one should get bail, the other one should be denied bail. Will the same principle be applied equally, or can you actually differentiate their cases, or should... Look, many people have said this, that the Supreme Court is given to playing to the galleries. They have become past masters at virtue signaling. I don't have to jog your memory back. There was an incident, there was backlash. Do you feel that the Supreme Court is inclined towards perhaps bail in this particular matter?
Rahul, I am not going to hazard a guess on what the Supreme Court will do. I can speak on the law as I see it. As to whether Supreme Court faces attacks, it faces attacks from all sides, left, right, center. You have a Ram Mandir judgment, one side will attack it. You have some other judgment, some other side will attack it. That is neither here nor there. In democracy, till a limit, people can say anything they want to say. So now coming to the case, I agree with my friend Abhijit, but to a degree. What the tests he gave are for normal general criminal law. They do not apply to special enactments. This is a case under a special enactment where there are certain presumptions because you're dealing with terror offenses. You're not dealing with somebody stealing somebody's wallet. So the law is completely different on that. Now coming to the other aspect, the very simple test is what Sharjeel Imam said, if carried out, would it be imminent danger? If 5 lakh people got together on that road, did a chakka jam, would it amount to a significant danger to the territorial integrity of India? The short answer is yes. If what plan you are setting out, supposing you as a part of free speech, say do A, B, C, D, E, and then you will have a very potent bomb made. That is not free speech. That is a part of a terrorist activity. Same way, this design, to my mind, is a clear part of terrorist activity because if carried out, it will result in significant damage to the territorial integrity of India. But going whether one case can be separated from other, yes, as a matter of law, every individual has to answer a case against him.
Okay, so even if it's a common conspiracy allegedly. Okay, fair enough.
From the role of a person who has the more...
Okay.
But I do not know the merits of the case to be able to answer this.
Viewers, whatever you might say, there are now compelling new claims that have been made. How they will weave into this larger case remains to be seen. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Just when we thought that perhaps the courts will be inclined, the Delhi police is putting up stiff resistance by bringing to the fore an affidavit with a lot more facts, they claim. Let's move on, viewers, because